Violence? Why does violence reign in the history of humanity? From gladiator spectacles, nuclear warheads, to semi-automatic weapons, public shootings, homicides, hockey fights, MMA, boxing, violence, or semi-violence, or almost violence, whatever people seem to categorize or label it as, violence can often be a central component to events that take center stage in the world's entertainment.
People died, it's bloodiest.
Violence seems to be a part of human nature. And it's one thing that all cultures and societies across time seem to share in common. But historically, statistics show trends that murder and homicide have been decreasing.
We do caution you, some of the video you're about to see is graphic.
Sounds crazy, right? But facts like these led Steven Pinker to comment, violence has been in decline over long stretches of time, and we may be living in the most peaceful time in our species' existence. Yeah, sounds crazy, right? The most peaceful time in our species' existence? Surrounded by news that constantly projects and capitalizes on a world full of violence. But maybe society is rethinking our violent practices. And maybe there's still room for growth.
Maybe there's still room for growth. Maybe this is the most peaceful time in our species' existence.
So welcome to Paraguay, everyone. I'm here with a tribe called the Ache, one of 19 indigenous groups in Paraguay. And today they're actually doing a reenactment of a practice called To'omumbu. To'omumbu basically represents what used to be club fighting that happened in this group when they were living as hunter-gatherers in the forest in Paraguay. This will be a more serious episode, because it was a pretty intense practice that the tribe used to do. So anyways, we'll show you a little bit of To'omumbu, and we'll feature some stories from the community here and what it meant to them, and also the crazy things they saw while it was being practiced. One of the major rituals in Ache society was the club fight, or To'omumbu. There was no other socially sanctioned form of aggression between Ache men. Among the varied purposes for calling a club fight, one was to mitigate spontaneous acts of violence. Men couldn't just hit another man who made them angry. They had to wait for a club fight to do it without social disapproval. It was a way to avoid extreme expressions of anger and to bring harmony to the group. Organized club fights were more common than spontaneous ones in Ache history, and they had an impact on almost every Ache who lived in the forest. These fights were often called to settle old scores and diffuse tensions. Club fights could be called to avenge the death of a child who was captured by Paraguayans or died in a freak accident, and sometimes the death of a very important leader would often lead to a club fight. But older and powerful adult males would sometimes call club fights just because they wanted to. In order to organize multiple bands of Ache, runners were sent out with a message that a club fight would be held at some location. Not all bands would attend, and some would even avoid the event. The camp would often grow to include 300 to 400 people, and those hosting the club fight would clear an area the size of a football field down to bare earth. On the morning of combat, men painted themselves black with charcoal. They stuck vulture feathers on their body, and each band entered the arena with a deafening roar. As new bands began to arrive in the clearing from different directions, the procession soon broke into chaos. The clubs were swung directly overhead and brought crashing down on skulls, collarbones, and arms. Sometimes a man's worst enemy could be from his own band, and men soon turned on their neighbors. Club fights lasted until there were almost no men left standing, often fighting throughout the whole day, in between brief moments of rest until all their pent-up anger and resentment was expressed. Children watched from high in the trees surrounding the field of combat. Women would often rush into the fray to defend their family members with their own bodies. Men who showed cowardice were often scolded by the women, and men who attacked while their enemy was on the ground could be punished later for violating the rules of the ritual.
Siapa? Iya tak utete tomu. Acina aku gatue. Tong pina aku. O ingatu se tio ete gogi. Petei achepe. Tomu bumajono. Kwagi bo ete mamoto. Tonje kama. Gope manoma. Go tomu valegi. Puta majechagi. Gobu puta castigo. Menyete mabwe. Deno uwe mabwe. Castigo. Gobu. Y ya lloré ma umagipe. Se pasó. Se yuka se pusiama. Gobu umakuenji umishimi yurupe. Ya tomu lupiawari. Gobu krapibu ingatu padima.
Immediately after the fight, the women would sit in a circle weeping. And the days after were miserable for the tribe. Everyone would suffer from hunger. Men and women were often seriously injured, and only the healthy women were able to provide food. In the first few days, some men might actually die, but most of them would recover, and the men began to hunt again, and soon the camp would be full of food, and the misery would be forgotten, as everyone, even former enemies, worked together to survive. And then To'omumbu would become a pleasant social time, where people would renew old friendships with those they hadn't seen in years. Teenagers might become aware of potential partners, some of them might leave their own band and join another. In between the violence, the club fights became one of the most significant social events of the Aceh forest life. They caused death, and they also built friendships.
Yeah, so in the first cultural week, all the grandparents, the whole tribe is together for the first time. Basically all the grandparents are together for the very first time, and in this huge cultural event, last day, they decide they're going to do a reenactment of the To'omumbu.
Quoi, yang go tuer gipe no tuer métier en Japon là. Vem duma não te tomo buera. Go tuer gi prend jama. Go de mu bipa mai go mu jang bu go bu jama go gi na ma tomo buera. Cuma go te ma butete. Tomo buera vi.
Gobu amo Chingama
gobu nada go ya kwa ma je tomu bori no de bari gobu ja chingapa.
Jono koe nonga
Kuema.
kuewa.
Te won tomu
Te se
buyama.
van gogi. Koe nonga ati japo. Koe nonga te tomu buta. Golonga te jona ta.
Go non kata. Kuenya
Kuenya
te.
ati. Go tomu buai di nya gareko. O te pe menya. Tapa te tomu buan depe. Se mo te kuera ta depe. Te kuera le kota. Te kuera kota depe. Golonga ati japo.
Depe kuere kota.
So why is this something that the Ache no longer do?
Mango. Tu be ma pon ati mu jen bore. Apon ati mu jen ya bu.
Foi yamango.
No te kuenya te ati pe.
Como la historia como uri tomu bu se abuelo se. Tu llamo non de warigi. Go tomu burigi. Gobu choampa, gobu minogi apa. E go tomu buri juka tomu gobu mai bu nama minogi apa choampa nama nande tomu bu yama na koebu. Gobu kwa ubaidi aponchu. Gobu tomu bu yama. Go prauma non di tu llamo como era cherigi. Nete tomu bu juka mano. Go minogi apa me bu machegi me bu choampa me bu tomu bu yama. Para uma pichepe. So ocho, gue sudah apa memang, sudah macam ni.
Are you happy today that this is a practice that's no longer done by the Ache?
Uri, tombu, kau yang bu, tombu yang bu, uri mah. Bye show aja ni si papa ini mama show ini mama ni show aja ku show pebio bu si o kiri ya gua si apa tomu buat show aja jamong itu papa pensam show aja gua si bio buat maklum ni pen gua gitu.
When you look back at a practice like To'omumbu and you change, that shows how different the Ache world has become in a very short period of time. And you see at the same time the joy that people walk with and the humor that they have and the laughter that fills these spaces, even at night around the campfire. That to me is like, how after people came and destroyed your homeland and left you with basically nothing, and very few people who actually want to partner with you to help you now, how do you still walk with grace and love like that towards outsiders? To me, that's unbelievable. That's remarkable. And even if it's not everybody in a community, the fact that there are many people that have received me like that is amazing. And so that speaks to the level of compassion that the Ache have had for me.